Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grousis of Cycling Greek. This is episode 5 in a week in winter training. Ordinarily I'm talking about winter training, off-season training for bicycle racing. But now we're going to take a look at what soccer players do. This is my nephew, Devon Grousis. He was a soccer player. He was a pro soccer player for about 6 years. So we're going to talk about that a bit and then talk about some off-season training. So Devon, where did you play for the 6 years?
I played for 2 years in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then I played my last few years for Arizona United in Phoenix, Arizona.
How many years ago did you retire?
It's moving on about a year right now.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay.
pretty fresh.
While you were playing, you were a coach for one of the main clubs in Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, now you're continuing doing that, and you're also in the front office.
My official role now is digital media and operations coordinator for the club, and so essentially I have some front office responsibilities, including marketing and collecting new field spaces, forming new teams, things like that.
I'm going to put you back when you were a pro. Talk about your off-season training.
Okay, so soccer off season, I'm not sure how cycling works, but I know soccer off seasons, we have a fixed amount of time every year. It's about the same, and I think it's about 3.5, 4 months altogether. And so that being a pretty long off season, the most important thing when you first get finished is to kind of take a step back from it, to clear your mind, one, and then to let your body kind of heal from all the little nicks and bruises that you might have picked up during the season. As soon as that period is over, which can last maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, recommended at very, very most, because you don't want to lose all your fitness and have to rebuild it all. You'd get back in the gym and you do a lot more heavy lifting, like a lot more explosive movements, non-functional workouts, so stuff that takes you away from soccer a little bit mentally, but is beginning to build muscle back up that you lost during the season through atrophy, either via just the fact that you're running a lot more constantly and losing weight that way, or because the meals were kind of a little harder to come by just because you're in and out of cities and you're moving around so much that you might not be eating properly all the time. And so as soon as that's done, we kind of get a base of fitness, start building that about 2 months in. So you have 2-month build up to the preseason, which is just trying to get like a basic base of fitness, so that when you get into preseason, you're not going to be injury prone because you haven't been doing anything.
Unlike cycling, where cycling is not a normal human movement, in which we have to build up do a lot of balance stuff. Some of us do running, some of us do hiking and so forth, like in the weight room. You don't have to worry about that portion. You're basically trying to increase your game, so to speak, with your legs. And I would imagine you're doing some upper body stuff too, just so you're not like a T-Rex, in the morning, right?
You're not too bottom heavy or top heavy. So essentially, the goal for the off season for us is a little different in that soccer's preseasons are real intense, because the fitness levels that you have to have for an actual soccer match, to be sprinting and jogging for 13, 14 miles in a game, is pretty intense on the body, and so what we're really trying to do is get our bodies ready for preseason. And so essentially our off season is geared toward getting ourselves ready for a preseason, where the team is going to provide via strength trainers and fitness coaches. They're going to provide you what you need to actually get ready for actual matches.
What age did you retire?
Okay, I retired at 28 years old.
Okay, that's still young. That's still young. The reason I asked that was there a difference in your off-season training toward the end of the 6 years as compared to when you first came into to the pros, or let's say after the first year?
Okay, well, coming out of college, I think that my off-season workouts were pretty hard, just because I was still hungry to try to get into the league, and then I tapered it down a little bit because I was coming into preseason a little bit too heavy, just a little bit too muscular. And so the second and third year, I was kind of like doing a little bit less weightlifting in the off season and just doing a little bit more running. But I was kind of pushing my body a little too hard, so much to the point that I came into my third season as a pro with a really bad hamstring tear, like 2 weeks into preseason, because I was just pushing my body too hard and I hadn't given it any time off. And so the next season following up, I kind of just wisened up a little bit, and my routine just became a little lighter, but just more consistent. Instead, I was trying to keep my fitness level at a certain level, not dropping below that, but I wasn't trying to build into the next season. I was just trying to make sure that I was staying here. That way I was trusting the staff to do what they needed for me.
I remember when you talked about the staff had geared you away from actual weights and over to strength training.
Yeah, and so the way that they always like to refer to it, instead of weightlifting or strength training, they always refer to it more in terms of injury prevention. And so there's going to be some mass building exercises like squats and like front squats and things like that, but essentially a lot of the stuff you do is band work, and so or body weight stuff. In other words, they're trying to get you to your end of range of motion and then make that spot in particularly really strong, so that way you're not tearing muscles. and those points of weakness in your stride. And so I didn't go to school for that, and so I'm not completely, familiar with it, but essentially that's what they conveyed to us.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank this guy, and as you can tell where he's got his good looks from. It's right here. Okay, remember, comment, like, subscribe to Cycling Greek. Okay.